Everyone, and welcome to the January NOAC Chamber Focus Series event. My name is Cindy Holzheimer. I'm the President CEO of the Northern Ohio Area Chambers of Commerce, which is NOAC for short. We are an association of 134 chambers across Northern Ohio, and we provide cost savings solutions for chambers to include in their member benefits. We also provide professional and developmental, organizational, all kinds of development for chamber leaders as well. So real quick, I would like to recognize some of your peers, our board members here at NOAC. Our board chair is Missy McWhorter, immediate past chair, John Soboleski, our vice chair, Karen Tursick, our treasurer, Rachel Weinkoop, secretary, Greg Church, and our at-large positions, Karen Bosley and Tony Gallo. So I'm excited today. I get to introduce today's speaker, Debbie Nazarian. Debbie has been with Lemonade Day since 2010 and is the national director. Lemonade Day is a program that teaches leadership and business skills by encouraging students to launch a lemonade business in their community. Since 2007, more than 1 million students have learned about business ownership by participating in Lemonade Day. To tell us more about this really exciting program, please welcome Debbie.
Hello, everyone. So nice to be with you today. Thank you so much, Cindy, for inviting me to be a part of your meeting and to share our program with all of these chambers. So as Cindy said, I've been with Lemonade Day since 2010. And it has just been such a rewarding experience to be able to launch this program. When we first started, and I'll kind of share the story of how Lemonade Day started. But in the beginning, our founder really just started Lemonade Day for Houston. But because it was so impactful to the kids, just through word of mouth, other cities started hearing about it, and it started growing. And so he put together early on a franchise program for the program and launched it to 2 additional cities in 2009. We started in 2007. In 2009, it expanded to 2 more cities. So 15 years later, we are in almost 100 cities and in 3 countries. We've served over 1.5 million kids. And just for me personally, to be able to, I've seen these kids grow up, and it has just been such an honor. Some of them I just kind of almost, they're like my own, because I just couldn't be more proud of them. A couple of standouts is little Michaela Ulmer. If any of you watch Shark Tank, she started with Lemonade Day when she was just 7 years old. Found she wanted to participate in the best tasting contest for Lemonade Day, and found her granny's recipe that uses flaxseed and bee honey, and in the process got stung by a bee and decided she hated the bees. But then her parents started educating her on why the bees are so important, and so then she had a huge turnaround and donated part of her proceeds that first year to saving the bees. Well, she also decided, well, you know what, Mom, I don't want to just sell my lemonade at a lemonade stand. I want to sell it in stores. And so she went on to bottle her lemonade, and then Whole Foods found out about it after it was distributed in some local smaller restaurants and delis. They started carrying her product in Whole Foods. Then Shark Tank found out about her, invited her onto Shark Tank. And she received an offer from Damon John, who has been her shark for all of these years now. She's expanded her line. She's now in all the H-E-B stores in Texas, which is a monster big grocery store. And she's now a Target just started carrying her Me and the Bees lemonade. And she is even on a Target commercial. So she started when she was 7. And this is her first year of college. And so I just talked to her a couple of weeks ago. And, she just attributes so much of her success to, sparking that entrepreneurial spirit within her when she was so young. And this is what she's gone on to do. And it's just been life-changing for her, just like it has been for so many other kids that have done this. And I could go on and share the stories, but you can find those on our website. And I'll send you some links after this presentation, so you can hear more about just the impact that it has on specific kids. But just to go back, so we started in 2007, and it was started by an entrepreneur. His name was Michael Holthouse. He had a company called Paranet that he sold to Sprint for a lot of money. And after the sale of his business, he just sat down and was like, okay, you know, I've been really successful. I really want to give back. You know, what can I do? And Michael has always had a heart for especially underserved kids. Just seeing the disparity and how kids in some communities have so many resources available to them, but kids in other communities who are just as smart don't have the same types of resources. So he created an after-school program for those kids, and it was very successful. But then one day, as Michael was at home, his daughter, Lissa, who was 10 at the time, came up to Michael and asked him if she could have a turtle. And he said, honey, we don't need a turtle. We have, you know, two dogs, 3 birds, you know, like all these animals already. And so, being very smart young girl, she thought about it for a while, and later came back to him and said, Daddy, if I do a lemonade stand and make my own money, then can I buy a turtle? And he was like, wow, I like this. Okay, well, I'll lend you the money for your lemonade stand, but you're going to have to pay me back for the loan. And she's like, no problem. And so she took the money, she went out, she did a lemonade stand. She comes back with a wad of money in her hand, and she's like, look, Daddy, I can buy my turtle now. And he said, well, hold up, honey, you need to pay me back for the loan. And she started counting out the money in her hand, and she didn't have enough money to pay back the loan. And she was devastated. And she was like, Daddy, what did I do wrong? And he's like, well, honey, like, how much did it cost you to make your lemonade? And like, how much did you sell it for? What was your profit per cup? And he's like, she's looking at him like, I have no clue what you're talking about. And he's like, and how did you pick a location? And still the same blank stare. And did you do any marketing? And the same blank stare. And he's like, oh my gosh, it was this light bulb moment for this highly successful entrepreneur who's like, my daughter goes to one of the best schools in Houston, and she has no idea what it takes to start a business. How could this be? And so he said, okay, well, I'll take you through some lessons. We'll do it again. I'll teach you how to do this right. And so they did, and she set up again. It was highly successful. And as Michael and his wife watched this experience and how much their daughter learned through this, they were like, why don't we do this for our kids in our after school program? Because they can learn so much through this. Look what Liz has learned. Let's share this with our kids in our after school. So after that point, Michael actually spent a year researching like a youth education. In the meantime, he met with the Search Institute, which has developed the 40 developmental assets that are assets that children need to develop as they grow up in order to become responsible, well-adjusted adults. And so he integrated those 40 developmental assets into the Lemonade Day curriculum that was eventually created during that year process. And so Lemonade Day launched in 2007 in Houston. And as I said, by 2009, other cities were hearing about it. And today we have over 100 cities participating in 3 different countries. We don't do any advertising. We go to the ACCE convention every year and share this because we love being able to see this program launched through Chambers, because it makes the most sense for you all. I mean, your mission is to support businesses in your communities. And with most chambers, you have a lot of small businesses, 31 million businesses in the US. However, 50% of them fail the first year. And we haven't found a solution to that, you know, with the decline in small businesses continuing over just such a long period of time. So we work very closely with the Gallup organization in DC. Jim Clifton, chairman of Gallup, is a huge supporter of Lemonade Day and has even included excerpts about Lemonade Day in some of his books. But what Jim said is that if we don't start with the youth, the young. I mean, we're not talking high school, we're talking elementary age, junior high age. If we don't start with them when they're young, we're missing it. So Gallup does every year, they do a hope index. So they do this survey with kids all over the country. And they helped us in 2017 do our first impact study. And what they found was that Lemonade Day has a huge impact on a child's entrepreneurial aspiration. And what they also found was, not just in that one report for that 1 year, but a child's entrepreneurial aspiration declines as they get older. And that starts from very young age, from kindergarten on up. So as a child goes from kindergarten to first to second to third, that entrepreneurial aspiration is declining. And so what we've done in the past is we've always waited till high school to teach them how to start a business and what an entrepreneur is and how to manage your money and how to do all these important things. But we've missed it because we're waiting too long. And so for Lemonade Day, our target age group is that elementary age kids. So obviously kindergarten, first and second, the concepts are a little maybe too elevated for them. So teachers do need to be able to kind of help adjust that. But our sweet spot is that third grade through sixth grade child who can understand the concepts, who are at a point where if they are introduced to entrepreneurship and if they can have an experience that shows them what they're capable of doing, we're setting them up for success in the future. So, just to talk a little bit about like what the Lemonade Day also teaches the kids. So it is entrepreneurship. So we are going to teach them how to start a business. It's infused with the 40 developmental assets with life and character building skills. It also approaches financial literacy. That's another piece of that that's so important. Half of US adults are deemed financially illiterate. That's a problem. So Cambridge University has done studies where they have found that by the time a child is between the ages of 7 and 9 years old, their concept of the value of money, spending money, and saving money is completely established. So that means if they've had if they have a good understanding of that by age 9 at the latest, it will be a lifelong skill, and they will be able to avoid getting themselves in financial situations. However, if they don't have a good financial education up until that point, it's going to be very challenging for them. And so it doesn't mean that they can't come back from that, but it just means that they face great challenges with being able to manage their finances as they get older. Hence why we have so many college students with like incredible student loans, and we have a huge issue with that. By the time they get to college, it's just like, oh, I'll just get a loan, but they don't understand what that means. So issues. One other thing that we do with Lemonade Day is that we introduce them to philanthropy. So through the curriculum, we have them set goals before they start their business plan for their lemonade business. So they're going to set a spending goal. We want them to think about something they either need or want and how much that costs, and set that as their spending goal. We also want them to think about a savings goal. We talked about financial literacy. This is a chance for them to learn about good financial responsibility and saving money at an early age. And then finally, we want them to have a sharing goal. Even though they're young, they can still make an impact in their communities. So we want them to think about a charity that they're passionate about, and have a goal to be able to donate to that charity and to make an impact in their community. Side note to that, what I've seen over the last 13 years that I've been here is that the kids who have the least are the ones who give the most. It's incredible. Finally, what I would love to share with you that you can expect that this is what you can offer your kids in your communities is that I love how Lemonade Day helps kids to be able to see their potential. They walk away from this experience with an explosion of new confidence. I mean, I've truly seen kids transform before my eyes in one day, where a kid can't even look at, they're so shy, they can't even look at a customer walking by, let alone say, would you like to buy some lemonade? But by the end of the day, it's a completely different story. What a gift to be able to, at a young age, help a child realize their potential, realize or help them believe in themselves, and help them develop confidence that will really put them ahead of the game as they grow older. So that's one of my very favorite things about Lemonade Day. Okay, so we talked about the target age and the elementary. One thing I would say, we talked about the benefits to the kids. The benefits to your community is that the Goldwater Institute has determined that every 1% increase in entrepreneurship in a state translates to a 2% decrease in the poverty rate. So for communities, especially for rural communities where there are a lot of issues with poverty, there are also in rural areas a lot of issues with kids thinking, I have to move away if I'm going to be able to make a life for myself because there's nothing here for me. It gives kids the chance to be able to be financially independent, but it also teaches kids that they can create their future life business and be able to stay with family and in the communities that they love. Okay, so let's talk about, just one more stat with Gallup. When they did their last their updated impact report in 2020, they found that 28% of Lemonade Day kids are running their own businesses today. 28%, that's compared to 9% of kids who have not done the program. So it just shows you just the impact that it's having on these kids to really spark that entrepreneurial spirit. And once they have their lemonade stand business and come away from that with all that knowledge, they can then apply it to another business for something, that they're creative, whether it's jewelry, I have kids with food trucks and they're still in elementary school. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's incredible. We also are developing a new program too, and this was piloted in Vancouver, Washington this past year at a chamber there, Janet Kinesky. She, through COVID, we created what was called Lemonade Day My Way. So it's not just that kids had to do a lemonade stand, because we had to be creative and we had to be flexible. And so we created an opportunity for kids to be able to set up their businesses, but it might not be lemonade due to health department issues during COVID that were just like so incredibly challenging. So she created a Lemonade Day Kids Market, and we are building out all the resources for that. So for you all, the kids can start with Lemonade Day at a young age, learn how to start a business, go through that experience, develop the confidence, be able to tweak the things that maybe they could have improved on, which, that's the conversation in the car on the way home every year for the kids. But then go on to create a real life business that they can continue on way past Lemonade Day. And we've seen that in so many of our kids. Two of the kids from Austin have created, it's a worldwide business where they create low-cost STEM kits and they sell them. We have Katie and Haley from Louisville, Kentucky, who started their own Oola Lemon business after Lemonade Day. They've been on the Today Show. They've been to the White House. They've been all over the country. And they were actually the youngest entrepreneurs to ever contribute an item to the Grammy Awards gift bags that all the stars got. These kids are incredible. And Katie, she's emailed me just this past December saying, Lemonade Day has done so much for me. I want to do more for Lemonade Day. So how can I volunteer? Cassie, do you have a question? Oh, she had to go. Okay. So anyway, so that's just the impact. So how does it work? Let's get to the really good stuff. So the way it works is that in every city where we have a full-scale community-wide Lemonade Day, which is the ultimate experience for kids, there is a local organization in each of the cities that will own the program, that own the license to Lemonade Day. They will provide all the leadership for it. They will be able to use our brand and our resources to fundraise, to bring in non-member dues revenue. And some cities, like Janet in Vancouver, like Gina in Galveston, over $100,000 a year. That's her primary program now. And honestly, it's probably a bigger community than some of you, but there's huge potential. We have national partnerships with Nickelodeon and Raising Cane's. We also have regional sponsorships with a lot of banks. Banks love Lemonade Day for the financial literacy piece of it. They can do microloans for the kids, which they love, brings kids in their branches. I mean, we have a whole resource development or resource that are available for you to be able to approach your local sponsors with the information that would really be attractive to them. Also for banks, it can help them satisfy their CRA credits, which is another huge talking point as well. So, in that city, that organization that takes the license, it can be a chamber, which is the largest category of license holders that we have. It can be a youth org like a YMCA, YWCA. It can be a Boys and Girls Club or a nonprofit there. But so the chamber in this instance for you all would be the license holder. And then inside of your chamber, you would designate a program leader that would coordinate with us at National. We would put together we would create your logo for your city's Lemonade Day. We'd create a website for you all that would be housed, a web page on our national website. And then we would set you up for training where we would take you through all the resources that are available for you to do this program, create a model for you because every city is different. You all have your own strengths, you know, as a chamber and as a city. So we create a model that plays to those strengths. And when I leave or after the training, then you have a definite a timeline and a checklist, and you know exactly what needs to come next to be able to fulfill your goals for the program there. So as a chamber, what are the benefits to you all for doing this program? So one of the big benefits is that in your communities, I found over these past 13 years that most young families have no idea what a chamber is. They have no idea how important you are or the support you provide to the chamber or how you support their communities. This is a beautiful opportunity for you to be able to get to know young families in your community and also be able to expand your brand or your influence in the community because it's a community program and because you'll be working with the mayor and the health department and the Parks and Rec, and you'll bring in schools and youth organizations. You'll be able to offer this to your members for their children to participate for free and be able to benefit from the experience. By the way, the kids on Lemonade Day, when they set up their lemonade stands after they go through the curriculum, the average that they make is between $300 and $500 on Lemonade Day. I mean, this is like, and it's not uncommon for them to make $1,000. It's crazy. My granddaughter, who was 9, who did Lemonade Day when she was 9 and now has an Etsy account and is doing everything else that you can imagine. She did her Lemonade Day at 9 years old in Waco, Texas. You know, the fixer-uppers, you know, if you all like fixer-uppers. She did it at the farmer's market. She made $620 in one day selling her lemonade. And after that, it was like, it was on. I mean, it was, she thinks of anything and everything she can and knows how to make her own money now. Okay, so one thing too I wanted to share is that I was just in Santa Paula, California this past week, training the chamber there. They're doing Lemonade Day in their community. And I was talking to the president, John, and he's like, you know, Debbie, we have so many small businesses here, but I am shocked to know that so many of them, they just start a business without a business plan at all. And that's why they get themselves in trouble. And I love this program because I'm excited about teaching kids while they're young. And this is also going to rub off on their parents and adults in the community as well. Because we need to help people understand and prepare themselves and plan appropriately for their business so that they don't fail, so that they can succeed. Okay, so you would choose your date for Lemonade Day. So what would happen after you designate your program director and we do the training, then you would go promote it to your community. You would obviously talk with your business leaders to bring in sponsors, and also ask your business members from your chamber if they would be willing to host a lemonade stand on Lemonade Day. And so it doesn't even require them to sponsor the event to do that, but this gives the kids a lot of opportunities for some really high customer traffic areas or locations in order to make a lot of money for their lemonade stand on Lemonade Day. So you would promote this within your community, and the kids would begin signing up. They would begin asking businesses if they could set up their lemonade stands outside of their businesses on Lemonade Day. And by the way, in small communities, for those of you in small communities, this is just such a beautiful opportunity for some business owners to get to know young families, to build relationships that would have never, ever happened otherwise. And that's what I hear from chambers, from a lot of our smaller communities. It's just such a bonding experience for the community and the businesses. Okay, so I have to look at my notes because I could talk forever about Lemonade Day and it's not good. So if you have a question, raise your hand, or let me know. Okay, so the kids would then register for Lemonade Day, and then during that period of time, they would be able to go through the curriculum. And if any of you are interested, I can send you a link so that you can see the curriculum that the kids go through. It's all the lessons. They start with setting a goals for their lemonade stand business. Then they go on to choose a location, planning what their product will be. So they'll create their own unique recipe for Lemonade Day. Then they'll go on to doing a budget, figuring out how much their Lemonade Day costs them to make per cup, and then how much they're going to sell it for, what their profit per cup will be. They'll go on to figuring out how much they, what they're going to do for their lemonade stand. If they're going to build one, that would be pretty costly. So it's better just to use things they already own. But they're going to go in and figure out the marketing plan. They're going to have to figure out what their startup costs would be and find an investor for that, which, we talked about banks being microloans for some of these kids, which is really fun. But then they'll go on to doing some customer service. They'll write a business plan for their lemonade stand, but then on Lemonade Day, they'll actually set up a real life business in your community and sell their lemonade. All the money is theirs to keep, and they distribute it according to the goals they set originally. So that was a lot of information. I think I should pause and just see if anyone has any questions so far.
Debbie, I have a question.
Yes.
I am so glad to hear about Lemonade Day my way, because I already have a community who last year started a, for lack of a better term, artisan makers march on a Saturday that they'll be my pilot school. How close is Lemonade Day my way to being launched? Is that something that, we can get in on being another pilot program and maybe a smaller community because they already are doing something like that? Like, how close is that to coming around?
This year. Okay. So it will be available this year. And we are just kind of, we're tweaking. So the curriculum is available in a printed version and in a digital version. And so the digital version has a journal, if you will, a companion journal that the kids can actually write down some of their information. So it's not all on the computer, right? And so we're using that journal to tweak the lesson. So it won't be create your lemonade recipe any longer. It'll be, what is your business going to be, and the budgeting piece. And so we're just tweaking really what the Lemonade Day lessons are to apply to a different business.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Is there an online of this info that you're giving us? Yes, you could go to lemonadeday.org. And you'll be able to watch videos about what Lemonade Day is, see the impact stories, get a lot of information that way. But I know Cindy sent you the chamber information document, which is really great information, sharing all of the chamber information that you would need in order to start Lemonade Day in your city. For other information, I will give you my email. I think it's on, I think you all have it, but just Debbie, DEBBIE @lemonadeday.org. And if there's any specific information that we've talked about today, I'm happy to send you the links to that or the documents that support it. Okay, any other questions? You're welcome. So I didn't go into a lot of the statistical stuff as far as like how why Lemonade Day is just so important to our future communities, especially small communities and actually our country as a whole. But there's a lot of information as well on that. Working with the Gallup organization, Joe Daly is a senior partner at Gallup. He's actually Jim Clifton's son-in-law. And he is our national board chairman. So we work really, really closely with the Gallup organization for Lemonade Day. And so we have a lot of impact information for those of you that write a lot of grants. There are a lot of grants available for financial literacy and for entrepreneurship now that are available. We write a lot of grants on our end on the national, for national, but we do provide information, all the impact information you would need to be able to write grants as well. We do have a national fundraising team that actually does webinars every month to help cities with fundraising. And there are even some one-on-ones that are available if any city is struggling and needs some extra help. The other support that we offer on the national level, aside from after your training, you know, your first year, I usually set up weekly calls if the cities want to do that, just to keep, you know, make sure that they're good. They don't have any questions and they don't get lost. I mean, when I have 100 cities, it's easy for a new city to get lost. So I really want to protect my new cities. We also, again, we have this, in box.com, we have a library of resources. It's almost overkill because sometimes you can go in there and there's just so many resources. It's sometimes hard to find what you need. And so until you get really familiar with that, I tell my new cities, just call me. If you spend more than 30 seconds looking for something and you don't find it, email me and I'll send it to you. But there is absolutely nothing you would have to create for this program. We have all of the best practices that we've developed over the years that we can share with you, how to set up Lemonade Day, how to organize it, and how to use the resources effectively. The school resources are phenomenal. So if any of you chambers have a really good relationship with schools, we have a new LMS system for teachers. We've got PowerPoints for teachers, for districts, for administrators. We've got a 62-page teacher's guide that I don't know any teachers that read the whole teacher's guide, but what I'm trying to say is we have more resources than you would ever need, and there's absolutely nothing that you'll have to do on your end to make this program a success in your communities. Finally, we have every September, we have a conference here in Houston, and it's super fun, super engaging. It's my favorite conference. I feel like all my children are coming together for the holidays, but it's so fun to see everybody come together in September, meet each other, be able to share, you know, what's going on in their cities. All of the presentations are done by city directors. So you're learning from each other because that's where all the golden nuggets of information and best practices are. And so it's a great time for everybody to be together, meet each other, build some relationships that you can continue past the conference and create some really wonderful partnerships going forward. So any questions about what support you received from National or anything else about the program that that would be helpful.
I came up with, oh, sorry, Cindy, go.
So I know there's a license fee that a chamber would need in order to host a lemonade day. So I don't know if you can explain that, and then ways that the chamber can actually engage with businesses to help cover that fee, and then also gaining some other non-dues revenue from the program.
Yes, exactly. So the license fee, it's actually a program fee, because with the license fee, you get unlimited access to the curriculum through the app. And the app was created by a company in South Africa that does work for Disney. So it's super state of the art. It's like very engaging, animated. It's really amazing. And so I do have a link that I can share with anyone who's interested to kind of go in and test it out if you choose to do that. So that program fee includes all the support from us, all of our resources, the conference, the webinars, all of that. In addition to the ability to use our brand to fundraise, as Cindy just said. So we have a sponsorship packet that's already professionally done that you just put in your levels and what your benefits will be, and you're good to go. We have existing relationships that we can share with you from other cities and really help you on the sponsorship front to be able to bring in funds to cover that program, license program fee. The license program fees range from $2,500 a year to, and it's an annual cost, to $25,000 for a city like Houston or Dallas or New York. It's based on the population of the area that you want to run the program in. So it doesn't have to be a whole city. It can be a carved out area, and we base it by a zip code. So you can identify or define your license area by zip code, and whatever that population is, there's a chart in that document that Cindy sent you that shows you what the fees would be. So populations up to 50,000 or 2,500. From 50,000 to 150,000, that's 5,000. And then for every 150,000 increase in population, it's $2,500. So you would go out and fundraise. You have the opportunity to be able to feature your sponsors through the app with their logos, through your social media, through your website. There's a lot of different ways that you can recognize your sponsors, and there are a lot of benefits you can offer them, especially for banks with the CRA, with the startup loans, with bringing people into their branches, that sort of thing. And all of that we would share with you in that training. There is a complete folder on fundraising in our Lemonade Day resources. Do you have any questions about that? The cost? There's no additional costs other than the license program fee, unless you need printed materials. If you have kids that don't have access to either devices or Wi-Fi. Now, you can do the app without Wi-Fi, but you need to be on Wi-Fi to download all the answers. So if you have kids that don't have access to either and need the printed workbooks, those are $3 each for the kids. There is a nylon backpack that's available as well for that you could purchase. Those are $3. Those are all customized with your city's logo and all the logos of your sponsors. So a lot of small cities love to use the printed because they like seeing the kids walk around town with that yellow backpack with all of their sponsor logos displayed.
Debbie, I'm a county chamber and have 7 different school districts. I'm planning on piloting it in one school district specifically, but once I get to the point where I can have all 7 school districts in it, can I do different dates for Lemonade Day so it's not every school district, or do I have to buy multiple licensing fees because I'm in multiple districts?
Really good question. No, you would have the license to the whole county. And then, so on your website, your first Lemonade Day, you would say Lemonade Day, whatever county is going to be blah, 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 this state.
Okay.
So, and then somewhere else on your website, you can put, here are the dates for the other, or even on your your homepage of your website, you could just list each of the counties and what the dates are.
Okay.
You can do it however you want, but no, you don't need to have individual licenses. It would be one license that covers the entire county. And for those counties that are the large ones, like 7,500 and above, we never start you out at the full amount, because we know that there's no way you're going to reach your entire community normally in your first year. The first year you want to start small, and you want to be able to really get a good feel for the program, get some exposure out there, awareness. You're just going to learn so much. And after you complete your first year, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, the fog is lifted. I get it. Like, oh my gosh, this is great. Now I know exactly what else I want to do next year. So yeah, we would depending on what the level is or what the population is, sometimes we'll give you two years to be able to reach that level, sometimes 3 years if it's a really big city, because we know it's going to take that time to be able to really be able to bring in, participation from all those areas. Other questions? Okay. Well, as I said, my email is debbie@lemonadeday.org. Feel free to email me with any questions, any follow-up, or any resources that would be helpful for you to share with the rest of your team. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today and meet you all and share my program with you all.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. I know I took a ton of notes, but some things that I wrote down that I really just wanted to highlight. I love the story of Alyssa and her, her story on how she got her turtle. Hopefully she actually got it. No, she didn't get the turtle.
This is so funny. She actually didn't end up buying the turtle. I don't even know what she bought with it, but no, it's kind of like not, I'm not, yeah.
I think that's funny. Yeah. And to be in over 100 cities in 3 countries, that's very impressive. And I think what I like most about the program is it's for, starting 3 to 6 graders, grades 3 to 6 on, teaching them entrepreneur skills that they're going to have lifelong, which is, I think that's super important. And I just really love that. And the way, the Lemonade Day, My Way, I like that. I think that's a really neat idea for that. I think that's wonderful. All right, well, let me share my screen again here. Our next Chamber Focus series is going to be on February 16th at 10. And we're going to be welcoming Jackie Shekarellis, and she's with Cleveland Magazine and Quest Digital. They do all of NOAC's digital marketing. And she's going to be talking about how chambers can maximize their marketing budget and how all of our chambers can afford to be doing streaming ads on streaming TV. We started doing this in the 4th quarter of 2022 and are having amazing results. And any chamber can do this on any budget. So she's going to be coming and talking about that. So we're really excited about that. And I want to say thank you again to Debbie for what an amazing presentation and sharing with us Lemonade Day, how chambers can be involved, how communities can be involved with their schools, the chamber, with everyone. For those that have any more questions for Debbie, just stay on. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you at the next event.